RTV6, Indianapolis This Week.
Welcome to Indianapolis This Week. I'm Rafael Sanchez. President Trump now looking to the week ahead at home after a historic and high-stakes meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit in Germany. Both world leaders voiced confidence Friday that their first meeting would lead to a positive and productive relationship down the road between the U.S. and Russia. A pressing issue for President Trump: what to do about North Korea's recent controversial missile launch. Speaking in Warsaw, Poland, the president says his administration will wait and see what happens with North Korea over the coming weeks and months. But he would not go into specifics about what options are right now on the table.
We'll see what happens. I don't like to talk about what I have planned, but I have some pretty severe things that we're thinking about. That doesn't mean we're going to do them. I don't draw red lines. It's a shame that they're behaving this way, but they are behaving in a very, very dangerous manner, and something will have to be done about it.
President Trump has called on all nations to come together to counter the North Korean threat. Here back at home, one of Indiana's most influential lawmakers is now planning to step down. Luke Henley has served a quarter of a century in the state legislature. The Senate Appropriations Committee chairman will retire at the end of September. The Noblesville Republican has been involved in almost every financial major issue before lawmakers over the past 10 years. Henley led efforts to cap property taxes in our state, build Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and institute a tax credit for Indiana's College Choice 529 Direct Savings Plan program. Before going to the Senate, the Army veteran was a Noblesville City Court judge. It's a deadly problem here in Indiana. Indiana now ranks 15th in the country for most opioid deaths. But a big announcement this week from Governor Holcomb is looking to help in the fight against this big drug epidemic. 5 new opioid centers will be open soon. These new drug treatment centers will be placed in underserved areas across our state. And the biggest goal: to reduce the number of opioid-related deaths. The centers will be built in Johnson, Allen, Vigo, Monroe, and Tippecanoe counties. They'll start taking patients in June of next year. It means people who are dealing with addiction will no longer have to drive a far distance to get the help that they need.
They're where they need to be. We're meeting the need where it is most urgent.
And starting August the 1st, most Indiana Medicaid members will have coverage for all services provided in an opioid treatment program. A very special Independence Day this past week for dozens of people who became citizens in a naturalization ceremony in downtown Indianapolis. 97 people from 32 countries took the oath of citizenship and are now planning to be among America's newest citizens. Each new American was then individually greeted by Senator Todd Young. More than 15,000 new U.S. citizens were welcomed in Independence Day-themed ceremonies across the country. Senator Todd Young was among those speaking at that ceremony. We had a chance to talk to him after the event about what's happening on Capitol Hill. He tells us he isn't taking a position just yet on the proposed health care bill. The Republican says he's listening to Hoosiers and is waiting to see what the final version of that plan really looks like. But he says it must include giving states like Indiana more leeway when it comes to how to manage Medicaid. The federal match to states would drop to 75% by the year 2023 under the current Senate plan.
The state has long asked for more flexibility with respect to how it manages the Medicaid program. They've long asked collectively for changes in the individual insurance market. They want something sustainable.
The senator says he's offered his input to fellow Republican senators behind closed doors. He says the final health care plan must be, in his words, bipartisan. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos is facing a lawsuit from 19 attorneys general over her decision to suspend rules that protect students from abuses by for-profit colleges. Those rules look to make schools financially responsible for fraud and forbid them from forcing students to resolve complaints outside court. But DeVos announced in June those rules would be suspended and rewritten, saying they created a muddled process. An attorney who led a lawsuit against Kentucky's gay marriage ban is seeking the Democratic nomination to challenge first-term Republican Congressman Trey Hollingsworth for his southern Indiana seat in the year 2018. Dan Cannon of New Albany characterized Congressman Hollingsworth as, quote, in his own words, an opportunistic multimillionaire who came to Indiana just to buy a seat in Congress, end quote. Meanwhile, this week, Congressman Hollingsworth made a stop at Franklin College. For his first time since being elected last fall, he visited that institution. Among the topics of discussion were the cuts to student aid programs included in the 2018-2019 budget that President Trump proposed, and the effects they could have on independent colleges like Franklin throughout Indiana. The congressman also spoke to school officials about the impact of workforce development in our state, higher education accessibility, and the level of preparedness of incoming college students around Indiana. Next on Indianapolis This Week, finding that next job may depend on your phone. Why spelling and limited characters could count more than ever before if you want to land that next job you want. You're watching Indianapolis This Week only on RTV6.
For more information, go to IndianaBlackExpo.com.
Welcome back to Indianapolis This Week. You can do just about anything on a smartphone these days, but how about interviewing for your next job via text? RTV6's Lauren Casey has more on this Indianapolis-based business changing the way many employees are screening for new talent.
And I actually liked this question, your answer, so I'm going to mark it as positive. And I'm going to add a little personal touch and say, Franklin, that's great.
We communicate every day by texting. So one Indianapolis-based company is asking, why not use this method of communication for hiring?
Yeah, we're the world's first text-based interviewing platform. We're well on our way and currently recruiting and interviewing everything from welders to software engineers, salespeople, physicians, and physical therapists all through the platform.
That's right, we're talking about text-based interviewing. The company is called Canvas. CEO Aman Brar shows me how a typical conversation between a recruiter or employer and a candidate would start.
The system's already prompting me to say hello to you, right? So why don't you say hello? And I'll go ahead and open up my questions drawer.
We can chat back and forth, ask questions. On his end, he can keep track of our conversation to pass along, and he can send me documents on the job description. Your text interview can be similar to a normal conversation. You can ask about benefits, former work experience, and requirements of the job.
In a traditional model, a recruiter might be able to screen 4 or 6 candidates fully via scheduled phone calls in a day, and we're seeing 3 to 5 or even 10 times that.
Kirby Knief is the CEO of a local recruiting firm working to match employers and employees in a wide range of jobs in the manufacturing industry. When he first heard of Canvas, he was skeptical. But now it's changing the way they screen and connect with candidates.
At least they see the text, acknowledge, and you can get in touch with them a lot quicker. Because in manufacturing, we have 3 shifts. So there's a first shift, a second shift, and a third shift. It makes it a lot easier to get in touch with those candidates through that.
And those traditional face-to-face interviews can still come later in the hiring process.
So really fits in best at the top of the funnel, so where you're just starting to get to know a candidate and that candidate's getting to know the company.
And if they like what they see via text, you may be on your way to landing that job the digital age way. Lauren Casey, RTV6.
Lauren, thank you so much. Some big plans are now in the works to benefit Columbus, Bartholomew County, and Cummins workers. This week, Governor Eric Holcomb helped announce plans to spend $30 million to build a railroad overpass over State Road 46, the primary entrance and exit in and out of Columbus, and used by thousands of Cummins employees. The new overpass will ease expected future traffic congestion as CSX moves forward to increase the number, size, weight, and length of its trains. Cummins also announced plans to spend $50 million to renovate its corporate office building in downtown Columbus. The entire facility, already an architectural landmark, will be renovated. It will accommodate 1,200 employees when completed in the year 2019, the company's 100th anniversary. And as we get closer to the opening of the first IKEA store in Indiana, the company is putting out the call for employees. The Fishers location in Hamilton County is looking for about 250 people to fill a variety of positions, from customer service to child play area supervision to food service. IKEA says job postings change from time to time, so if you're interested, monitor the website seeacareerwithus.com. That is where you are to apply. That store, get ready, is set to open this fall. Mere seconds, they can make the difference between escaping a sinking car and drowning. Now more than 600 Indiana State Police troopers are equipped with a tool to aid in rescues both above and below the water. It's called the Rescue Me. It breaks car door windows in seconds and can cut through seatbelts, allowing officers to quickly get to you and your family in the need of help in the event of a water rescue.
whether you're in a car wreck, underwater, above water, it doesn't matter. If your car's on fire, it gives law enforcement a chance to get access to your car and save your life, and that's what it's about.
Police tell us the device, the Rescue Bee, can even be used to rescue children and pets left in hot cars. Officers also encourage drivers to keep a Rescue Bee in their car in the case of an emergency. They can be purchased online or at an Ace hardware store near you. Time now for I Say, You Say, and this week's edition of our special guest commentary features a very controversial topic in the state of Indiana, the idea of legalizing marijuana. Joining us today is Bill Levin of the First Church of the Cannabis and supporter of legalizing marijuana.
I'm here to talk to you about the beauties and the wonder of the cannabis plant. Did you know that 73% of Hoosiers want medical marijuana in our state? Did you know that it can fight and regulate several diseases? It can help you lose weight. It can help your metabolism. It can help fight anxiety, depression, and it can be a safe alternative and a cure for opiate addictions. It can spur mental creativity and helps focus. It can reverse the negative impacts of smoking tobacco on your lungs. It can be helpful for easing PTSD in our veterans. Its seeds are healthy and full of amino acids and protein. You can build environmentally sound structures with it. We currently have companies in Indiana that have 22 containers loads of hemp being shipped here every single week. According to the Uniform Crime Reporting data for Denver, there has been a 10.1% decrease in overall crime and 5.2% drop in violent crime. In Washington state, violent crime rates have dropped by 10%. Voters legalized recreational marijuana there in 2012. The only connection between marijuana and violence is the one that exists when illegal sellers battle it out for profits on the black market. It is our responsibility to compel our elected officials to change and be part of that action. Cannabis is good for our people and good for our state. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your smiles make me happy. I love you all.
That was Bill Levin. Now we want to know what you have to say. Let us know what you think of what Mr. Levin talked about or anything on your mind regarding Indianapolis this week. You can reach us on Twitter, on the RTV6 Facebook page, on the RTV6 app, or at theindychannel.com. Next on Indianapolis this week, our insiders tackle the issue of marijuana, abortion, and the fight over health care. This is ITW, only on RTV6. Welcome back to Indianapolis this week and to the ITW couch with the ones and only Laura Beck and Holcomb Shabazz. It's great to see you guys again.
Me too.
Always great to have the band back together.
It's always a good thing before I go to church to sit down with you guys.
Right,
Talk about marijuana.
Before I start praying.
Then we go and pray. Then we go and pray for forgiveness.
So before I start praying, let's talk about, we just heard from Bill Levin about his push to legalize marijuana. It's not something that is happening in Indiana right now. We know that some people may need it for medicinal purposes. Will this ever pass in our state?
I think it will happen eventually. It's just going to take a while to get there. You mentioned the poll where a clear overwhelming number of Hoosiers support legalized marijuana. We did a poll at indypolitics.org, an informal survey, but overwhelmingly either for recreational or medicinal purposes.
That's because I just kept taking it over and over and over again.
Yeah, you got all the states around us, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, all have it for some type of medicinal purpose. So it's inevitable. And here's the other thing too, even in the backdrop of the opioid crisis, in places where marijuana has actually been legalized, they've seen a decrease in opioid abuse. So apparently something's working somewhere.
Well, I think it's one of those topics almost similar to gay marriage where people's opinions change over time. And I definitely think on this one that public opinion really, I don't think holds it as such a criminal act anymore, particularly. I know law enforcement really comes down on the other side of it. And I do think there are the medicinal purposes for it as well. And I think as we see baby boomers retiring and we see baby boomers aging and they are in pain, that's going to be something that they're going to really want to use. So I think we will eventually see it, but I think it's going to take a while.
But on the public safety side, it is a difficult discussion to have.
It is,
while you're having another discussion on an opioid crisis. You can't compare opioids to marijuana, to different classes of drugs. But nonetheless, we are facing a crisis on that side of the fence. We just saw the governor.
But also look too at what caused the opioid crisis. It was the prescription pain medication. You know, that the legitimate pharmacy universe kept overprescribing to people. And doctors, you know, and the medical establishment. No one ever got addicted to marijuana. And to say people do is is an absolute fallacy.
Well, but the challenge you have there, though, is from a law enforcement perspective, it is what is known as a gateway drug, and that is a challenge because everyone reacts to drugs differently. So that is a big issue for law enforcement, especially how they enforce it too. So,
and under the state plan, those that are going to get treatments at these new opioid centers, Medicaid will cover that. So here we go with the issue, of course, of the health care.
If Medicaid is still around.
And so let's talk
about, really, not to interrupt
will we see? Oh, you can interrupt. We're back again.
Back together.
Will we see a health care bill that will be bipartisan and will satisfy all interests? Is that even possible?
I don't think it's possible, but I don't think it's very likely, just because of the toxic atmosphere that Washington, D.C. is in. I mean, Republicans themselves can't agree on the health care plan, much less bringing Democrats on board to get something as well.
Well, and everything Mitch McConnell says as a threat is, well, then we're going to have to work with Democrats to his caucus.
Can we see Democrats, though? But
which is interesting.
The president does call Democrats obstructionists. I think I heard that. I think I heard the same thing in the last cycle, Republicans being obstructionists. Yeah. But can there be a discussion? Can there be a plan that will get something done on health care?
Well, the problem with this health care bill is that it was done by Mitch McConnell and a few people. So it was not done with a lot of outreach and a lot of input, and it hurts 22 million Americans, possibly more, that they would lose their health insurance. And so I think that one of the challenges with this health care bill, especially because the folks in Congress are in recess right now, is that they're home, and very few of them are holding town halls, but the ones who are holding town halls are hearing from their constituents that this is not good for them. And even in Indiana, when the Republican Party did their Facebook post on Tell Your Obamacare Horror Story, they had all these
that was a little bit of a misfire for my friends at the state party.
They had all these posts saying, well, yeah, it's great because now I can have coverage for this, or for me. I mean, I had not gotten coverage for pre-existing conditions.
Though Democrats did encourage people to flood the GOP side.
Yeah, but early on in the beginning.
But that's what happens when you throw stuff out on social media.
Yeah.
When you throw it out on social media, this is when you try to play one game, sometimes your friends on the other side of Ohio Street can play games just as well. The thing is, until you get a coalition of moderate Republicans and moderate Democrats, I think that's the group that should put any type of health care reform together, because Obamacare hasn't been this great thing that people have said it is. Just look at insurance premiums, how they've gone up. Look at people leaving out of the exchange. I don't think there's maybe one provider left here.
Yeah, but let's not forget, though. I mean, let's also not forget, when all this discussion is going on, you know, how the insurance companies are hurting from it. I mean, the CEO of Anthem is making tens of millions of dollars a year. So trust me, they're not hurting at all.
The next topic is the issue of election integrity. A number of secretaries of states have told the federal government, hey, we'll give you the basic information, for example, name, we'll give you addresses and congressional district, but if you want dates of birth and social security numbers, you're not going to get that. Is that fair?
That is more than fair.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, this whole silly nonsense about, there's been this massive 2 million people illegally voting.
I think it was 3
million is completely ridiculous. There's been no evidence to substantiate that. The Secretary of States are actually here in Indianapolis this weekend, and that's part of the discussions that they're having about, how do you clean up voter rolls and that sort of thing. Do you get some duplication? Yes. Do you get some people voting who probably shouldn't? Yes. But to say there's this massive fraud that messed up the system, no, it's not.
You get the last 30 seconds.
I agree with Abdul.
That's it?
I agree with Abdul. I think he's right. I think it's total overreach. And, I mean, look, Donald Trump's folks, they can't even book themselves a hotel to go to the G20 summit. So, I mean, how the heck are they going to handle
this? The team is back.
I have no idea.
Couch. The Political Insiders, thank you so much, Laura Beck, Abdul Hakim Shabazz. You're watching ITW only.
Nazarene University and RTV6.
Good morning, I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what we're working on right now at RTV6. Today, a memorial will be held for the missing 8-year-old who was found in a retention pond after a 21-hour search. First responders pulled his body from a retention pond not more than 100 yards from a home where he was staying in Brownsburg. There will be a prayer vigil for the family at the Park of Creekside Commons. That starts at 6 p.m. tonight. A woman has died after a shootout at the Long's Donut Shop overnight. It happened just before 3:30 this morning. Right now, police say they don't know what led up to the shooting, but they say it's possible more than one car and more than one gun could be involved. Investigators are hoping video evidence from surrounding businesses could lead to more answers. Remember, you can stay up to date on all the latest breaking news on the RTV6 app.
Welcome back to Indianapolis This Week. I'm Lauren Casey. It's time for the 6, so let's take a look at 6 things coming up this week in Indy. Starting off your week with a little zen. A special yoga class is helping local kids relax this Monday through Friday. It's all taking place near the Boys and Girls Club in Zionsville. Kids there can take part in Peace Through Yoga each morning before their community service projects with Caring Hands Camp. 80 years and still going strong. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, head on over to the Speedway for the 80th annual St. Christopher Festival. This includes homemade food like their top secret pulled pork barbecue, beer gardens, and midway rides. Polka Boy will also be providing your musical entertainment on Saturday. This festival kicks off at 5 o'clock on Thursday. Well, grab some popcorn, settle into your seat at the IMA. The Indy Film Festival is returning this week. The 10-day event features premieres of films for a variety of tastes. And round up those pop tabs you've been saving at home. Come on out to Monument Circle on Friday. You can donate pop tabs and coins to the Ronald McDonald House Charities. This runs from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Now, also happening at that same time on Monument Circle on Friday, the 28th Annual American Dairy Association of Indiana will be scooping ice cream for you to enjoy. So Monument Circle, that's the place to be for your lunch hour this Friday. And on Saturday, you can hunt for treasure at a festive antiques market. This event runs from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. and it's put on by Indiana Landmarks. Early birds get the first dibs on those collectibles and a discounted entrance fee. Now, that's what's all on tap this week in Indy. Back to you.
Lauren, thank you so much. A new app is working to help those with mental disabilities connect with others and find friends. For those with autism or other disabilities, it can be tough to make a friend. Just take it from a mother who has a 22-year-old autistic son. She says it was really difficult for him growing up to reach out and meet other people.
I just want to put a great big banner over my house and say, you know, needed friends.
Enter their neighbor Ben, who created an app called Friendy, designed to help people with disabilities and find friends. It also set up for parents to be involved in the process. Friendy is currently in limited testing. Thank you for joining us this week for Indianapolis Week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Sunday right here on RTV6.